Hello, everybody. It's Denita here at Embracing Play, and I'm here with Beth.
Hello.
And it's funny, this afternoon, actually on Tuesday, we realized that we wouldn't be able to record, and so we planned on today. And then this afternoon, I just texted Beth and said, "What do you feel like talking about tonight?" And she said, "I want to talk about saying no." And it's funny because my initial thought was, no. I don't feel like I don't feel like talking about that. And then I went for a hike, and all these things popped into my mind. I'm like, yeah, I'm really stoked about this. Let's do this no thing. But I'm going to let Beth start out since this was her. We like to be led either by you guys and conversation that we have on our Facebook page, or by things that we're experiencing in our own programs. And so Beth is a family child care provider, more of a group home, would you say, Beth?
Yes.
The program is. So she has a couple of employees, and then those of you that don't know, and then I was family child care provider for 17 years, and then now I have a preschool program where the children are with me just in the mornings, 3 mornings a week, just to give you a brief background info about us if you are new to Embracing Play. All right, Beth, hit it.
All right. Well, I wanted to talk about no because I was sitting and listening to myself and to people around me this last week, and it just seemed like I kept hearing the word no all the time. And it was, no, don't touch that, when I was in the grocery store. No, you can't do that, as I'm walking from church to our car, and I'm just hearing the word no all the time. And I think sometimes what we forget is, what do children hear? They hear the very last words of your sentence, because they don't cue in to the fact that you're talking to them until your first words are gone. So they hear what you're saying no to, and they think you're saying, go ahead and do it. So no, don't cross the street. They're hearing, oh, cross the street. No, you can't leave, you can't go by yourself. They're hearing, go off by yourself. I'm hearing a lot of no's with toddlers and infants who are just exploring, be it from the kids that they're playing with. No, don't touch that. No. So I'm really trying to switch to the more positive. Here, play with this. I'm using this. You play with this. And sometimes trying to convince a bunch of 3-year-olds to say, here, you do this, instead of the quick, fast no, doesn't work. So I'm just pretty much laying it out there and being pretty open that I'm curious to see what the conversation is going to bring. Because whenever I get done talking to you, Denita, and I get done reading all the comments about our vlog, I'm like, okay, that really helped me. So that's what I'm doing tonight. I'm saying,
so
all right,
you are looking for help.
What should we be doing to get the people in our program, the people around us, the children, the adults, the children in our world, the adults in our world, to stop saying no all the time?
I always think that no stems from mistakes that I've made with setting the environment. If I'm always saying no to a child about something, I'll ask myself, well, why, if they can't touch that, why is it in their space? So that's the first place that I always start with people, is if it's a no, then why is it? Is it something that can be moved away? Is it something that
can't move my fireplace?
Right? Family child care providers deal with that so much, because your programs, the benefit of your programs is that it's in your home space. It's got that home feeling. So how do you go about that? And I would love to hear conversation on our Facebook page with ideas, and there's things children can learn about, respecting that, hey, a fireplace is a no, but here's something, like you said, Beth, here's something that you can touch. So that's the angle that Beth is coming from with this whole, how the word yes can be empowering, and the power of the word yes, but how to say yes when there are just definite no's.
I guess I was always taught by my mom that the word no was safe. That was for when it was like really something important. No, like if you're getting into something, something dangerous. then the no came out. So to hear no so often when we could easily say, here.
No becomes numb. Like the children don't even pay attention to no if you're using no all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. So that's the angle Beth is coming into this. I'm coming into it from the angle of when children request materials, things that we're not expecting that they're going to want, and saying no. Or any of a need that a child has, that's something that we're not expecting and coming across as no. And so I kind of made a list of things that I used to think were okay reasons to say no to a child. And I think a lot of you these might resonate with you as well. So like I just said, their request was something I didn't expect was going to happen on that particular day. And that so many things fall under that category. Another reason I felt it was okay to tell a child no is because it wasn't in my lesson plan, or it didn't fit into my theme. I was so thematically led that if what a child wanted to do didn't fit into my theme, it was a no. Another one is it didn't fit into the time of year. You know, Denita, can you get out Polar Express? And it's April. Oh, I'm sorry, honey, that's a Christmas book, and it's put away with our Christmas stuff. And then the last one, or no, I've got two more here. What they've requested is going to make a real big mess. And I did not want to deal with the mess. And so a lot of times I would say no to a child then. And then the last one, quite frankly, is I'm the one in control here. So I need to say no every once in a while so they remember that I'm in control. And so those are all reasons that I used to think were okay to tell a child no when they ask for different materials. And I've since learned that no, none of those are really good excuses. None of them at all. I think what we need to do is realize that when a child has asked us for something, first of all, that means that you've got a good relationship with them, because they have to feel comfortable with you. They have to trust you in order to ask for what they want. I feel that very, very strongly. They also need to know that they're respected, and that their ideas are respected by me. I think that's really important. And so to stop and realize that if a child's asking you for something, that's a really big compliment.
I said, absolutely it is.
And the next thing is to understand that this is their own independent idea. Isn't that what we want for children? Don't we want them being self-thinkers, self-motivators? So if a child has sprung off on their own and have this idea, but the materials they need aren't there, for them to have thought, but Denita has this, I know she does. And I trust that she'll get it out for me. And I know she's going to love my idea because Denita loves it when I have an idea that's all of my own. So all of those things honestly trump all the reasons I thought it was okay to say no to a child. I hope that makes sense in a way, and that there's something in that you guys can take back. But when a child asks for something that you didn't think of, that you didn't see coming, celebrate it. When a child asks for something that doesn't fit into your lesson plan, chuck the lesson plan. You chuck the lesson plan enough, and you start opening your eyes to the value that's happening right around you without you needing to pre-plan it, you're going to change. You're going to make some more changes there. You don't want to deal with the mess. Why are you in the field of early childhood? There's nobody that's put it better than Melinda Marshall. So I share a lot of Melinda stuff on my Play Counts page. Melinda is a family child care provider from New York State. And somebody once asked her how many times a day does she sweep the floor? And she said, as many times as I need to. She said, if you work in an ice cream shop, are you going to not want to make ice cream cones? Are you going to say, oh, I've hit my limit, I'm not making any more ice cream cones? You work with children. You're going to be sweeping. You're going to be cleaning. You're going to be taking care of things. Can you have help from children? Absolutely. But it's part of the job. It really, really is. And the whole idea of it not fitting in the time of the year, hey, that's what's on that child's mind. If in April they're thinking about Christmas, Yay! Is there any harm in that? Are they hurting anyone? Are they hurting anything because you read them a Christmas book in April? No, that's what's on their mind right now. Celebrate it. And then that last one, that whole control bit, throw that out the window. Just throw it out the window. You do not need to be the one in control. You can hand that control over to children. All right, so Beth, in the past, when you're not feeling overwhelmed, I can feel that you feel overwhelmed by too many no's in your program. What are some things that have worked for you? What are ways that you've worded things to children?
I just come at it with a yes. I mean, I really focus on my hush, and because no is quick, no is a non-thinker. It's just automatic. You just can spit it out. Where I really try and, pause for a good 3 to 5 seconds before I answer, because then I have time to process what they're asking or what they're doing. The fireplace. Oh, it's an electric fireplace, and it makes a really cool sound when you bang on the screen of the fireplace. Makes a very cool sound. So I have moved the music basket next to the fireplace in an effort to say, here, please play with these.
Now, is the fireplace on while they're there ever, or do you just not want to ever encourage?
Oh, yeah.
So there are times when it is absolutely
dangerous. It's got a little tiny heater like this on it. It's not
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not a matter of saving hands from getting burned.
No.
It's a matter of just letting them know that any place that they're at, something like that is not okay to play with, and just building that boundary for them.
And
for your own and all of the rest of their state of mind. Okay. And so that's one that no doesn't necessarily need to be reserved for, because there's no harm that's going to come from it.
Exactly.
So then you found a way to making the sounds okay by putting other materials there. And setting different materials out is a big one for a lot of times no's are attached to schematic needs.
Right.
Urges that children absolutely have to have, and some of those schematic needs fall under the category of misbehaviors.
Right.
Throwing things. I've heard so many providers, so many teachers go, oh, that child drives me nuts. They're always having to throw. Yeah, they have to throw. Their body is screaming at them to throw. Find something for them to throw. Dumping is another one. And another one to me is deconstructing, taking things apart. Those three of all the schematic needs, I feel those three are ones that we make the mistake of considering them as being wrong and that they should be no's, when really they are all three things we need to find ways to say yes. So Beth, what are some ways that you find yeses for kids who want to dump?
Oh,
putting you on the spot.
Yeah, dumping doesn't, I guess for me, the schematic, if it doesn't bother me, I don't worry about it.
Okay, so I should leave it at that. What are there any of the schemas that bother you? Like, and look back maybe before, now of course we've got so much more knowledge that we recognize that those are schemas and urges. So I'm sure you've got just a plethora of things that it's all okay.
I would say probably the trajectory, that really, you worry about somebody being in the path of that item that's being thrown.
Yep.
So we have a lot of shower puffs now. We have a lot of pom-poms. We use our catapult. And
plastic spoons
are
also great with the shower puffs. And there's a lot of good fine motor with those too.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. For me, that's it's probably, where would you say noise falls on?
That's a schematic. That's a schema too. Yeah. There's some kids that just crave making that sound or listening to it, making the sound and then trying it again with the ears plugged or whatever. But yeah, there's a sound one under the schemas.
So I do try and, make sure I find a spot where they can be noisy. Like I've moved my shop back into one of the bedrooms because it's a perfect place for them to go in there and turn it on. And those of us that can't handle that shop
Yes, I love that. So it's respectful to both the ones that want to play with that And I'm finding that this year, this is the first year that I have more than one child that doesn't care for the sound. They love to play with it, but they don't like the sound. So I've ordered more earmuffs because I just have one pair, to try to meet them all where they're at, to be able to supply that play, but also protect those ears that are more sensitive. Yeah. For me, I love the sound of the shop vac because it mellows out everything else going on. To me, it's soothing and calming, and so it has different effects on different people.
Well, and with my group right now, the shop vac is like a ramp it up. It is, they ramp up their play. Whatever they're doing when they bring the shop vac into it, it is like, 3 years ago, my group that had the shop vac, they used it to discover what it could do. And, you could see where like when you posted about the air movement, you could see that's what they were thinking about.
Yeah.
This group is so funny because they just want to put it in their mouth and blow their cheeks out.
I've had that too.
Blow everybody's hair. They just want, and so totally ramps up the play. And then we had talked about how, you and I had talked about how I needed to do something different with this one bedroom that I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
We did have the crazy tube in here and the shop vac in here, but there was nothing in the middle of the room. And boy, they get going with that shop vac, and pretty soon they're literally bouncing off the walls with their wrestle play. And I'm okay with roughhousing, but I wasn't okay with it in here because I trust my kids and I'm not in this room every single minute.
Yeah, and you want that power play to be where you're at.
Where I can see what's
going on. And speaking of power play, let's go there and then let's wrap this up. Because that's a big one that gets a lot in so many programs because it's misunderstood. Again, it's seen as a bad thing and it's seen as a behavior problem. What does power play look like in your program, Beth?
Ooh, power play is especially 3 little boys that are just loving every minute of pummeling each other, knocking each other down, and to them it's an important part of their day.
So how do you make that a yes? What are your boundaries? How does that?
I have a round rug. They have to keep it on the rug, and the rug is it's probably 8 to 10 feet in diameter.
Oh yeah, okay, so plenty of space. Yeah,
and they just have to keep it on there.
And does everybody else around know the rug? Hey, if you're on the rug, all bets are off. Okay, I love that.
And if the infants are crawling around and the infants are on the rug, the wrestling has to wait.
Yep, I love that because you've got some self-regulation going on, some opportunities for them to develop those executive functions. Dan Hodgins, while I'm thinking of it, is my go-to person on the whole power play topic. I love his words of, it doesn't have to be it's okay to say, hey, that's not all right here, but you can do it here. Sometimes this whole idea of always saying yes and never saying no to a child gets taken too far and people feel like, well, I can't ever say no. Well, sometimes you can. For me, if the floor is so busy and everybody's play is all over and there's really not any safe place where that power play can happen, I'm like, I'm sorry, boys, but it can't happen right now. I will let you know the second I feel like there's a big enough space. And I think moments like that are excellent opportunities for children to gain that understanding of others, that understanding others' perspectives, their whole just controlling their bodies and that self-regulation, all those things. I think it's a good opportunity for that. A lot of times my power play, the best place for power play in my program is outside. So we got pool noodles and they just wail on each other with the pool noodles. And they know that you can only hit someone else with a pool noodle. They also have a pool noodle to fight back. And so once that's all established and everybody understands it, it's smooth sailing and you're able to meet those power play needs. I also bought a gymnastic mat. They weren't all that expensive. I was surprised. I think I paid like $35 maybe on Amazon.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit small. I mean, it works, but and that just gives me peace of mind when they're on something a little more squishy. But I don't have, right now, I don't have very physical kids. They still will get every once in a while into some power play topics, where the last 3 years, oh, I had big power play players. So this year's kind of I'll admit it, it's a nice little breather, because it is something that still just depends from moment to moment. It's still something that I'm working on to improve. Just because I'm uncomfortable doesn't mean children can't do it.
Right. And I'm totally okay with power play. I'm not okay with not being able to see it and to.
So you just need it in the room that you're in the most. Yep.
Yep.
Yep, that makes sense.
Because the way our rooms are set up is we have the kitchen, and then the living room is a big play space, and then the 2 bedrooms are off with a hallway. So we sit ourselves in that hallway so we can see into each of the bedrooms, and we can see into the living room as well. But yet if I get up for a minute from that spot, it seems like they're like, oh yeah, she's gone, time to start. So we just had to do some switching this weekend, and I just moved all the rooms around and reminded them that the circle rug, go for it. Wrestle all you want.
I'm glad you brought that up too, is sometimes if you're getting so caught in a no pattern,
yes,
totally revamp your space.
Yep.
Completely change it, and see that sometimes too can just knock that cycle out, and suddenly yeses can come more easily.
My toddlers are able to settle in and play with the kitchen set and the dress-up clothes, where when they were in my living room for the last, I don't know how long, all they were doing was pulling everything off the shelves and leaving. So, you know, even my toddlers now are taking a bowl and mixing with it, or, you know, going to the loose parts and throwing something in the bowl and bringing it to me. So even they need a change.
Yeah. Yeah. I was so proud of myself, because you get caught in, this is where I put this is where we put this is that. And I flip-flopped my room. Like, messy table is now way over on the opposite side of the room. The play kitchen is total. And for me, it's been just a great brain vacation, just the play. And the play has been through the roof, but that's a whole nother topic. Let's wrap this up, Beth. We're at about 22 minutes here. And you guys, we do like to keep them short, because we know you don't have a lot of time. So we're going to end this. But right. And we also, our whole goal with Embracing Play is to continue the conversation on Facebook, because Beth and I do not begin to know everything whatsoever. We're limited in what we've experienced. Beth's got a lot more experience than I do as far as variety of different programs she's worked in. But we want to be crowdsourced. We want all of you sharing your ideas, because everyone's got great tips, great ideas, things that have worked for them. Maybe you've got a situation now that you need some suggestions. That is what this program, this whole idea behind Embracing Play is all about, is for all of you to have a voice and be heard as well. So if you are not on our Facebook page, it's Embracing Play Community. And it's a group, and we would love to have you come and join us. It's a public group. It's not hidden or secret or anything like that. Anyone's welcome. And you can request membership, because then I think you get the notifications. But, you know, there's no secret code. All right, you guys, thanks. And we're looking forward to more conversation. Bye.
Bye-bye.